All right. Hey, what's up? Kalen here. Welcome to live stream number 59 here for you today. And I'm going to try something a little new today. I am going to, firstly, I need to copy a link. There we go. Copy a link. Sorry. Oh dear. Oh dear. What happened now? Tried to copy a link and... Oh, there we go. Oh, copy link address. All right. I'm going to need that. I was supposed to copy that before starting. But here we go. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to respond to my LinkedIn and Twitter comments here in a live stream. Testing this out, seeing how it goes. Hopefully this will be fun for the whole family. Got my Chipotle cup here. True to form. All right, well, let's jump in. First up, you are seen as an expert in your field. Some people are looking for advice, and you can help. That chance. No, that's very nice. That's very kind. Thank you. Okay. Next up, from Dale here. Nothing kills the budget. Now, this is a comment on this post that got a lot of traction. I actually went ahead and pulled it up in a separate tab because they take forever to load. So nothing kills the budget on a job quicker than being pulled on and off the job, in my opinion. Half the problem is poorly managed timelines and overlapping projects, trying to mop up or deal with the ad hoc queries whilst completing the current job in the time allocated. Be that through email, social media, tracking, or someone walking the door. The queries coming to the job should be managed. 100% agree. 100% agree. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's funny because half of the time, I'm just going to cue this up because I'm going to be sending this response a lot. Yeah, so totally agree. Half the time people respond to this. So this is in response to this controversial opinion, which is this is a bit of an overly broad statement, which I think is part of what made it work, is that people wanted to argue with it. But anyways, about notifications and turning them off and how they can be distracting. And half of the people are like, no, man, you're crazy. My notifications don't bug me at all. And half of the people are like, completely get it. So Dale, me and Dale are on the same page. From Alex, teach their own. I don't mind level visual reminders that something's happening on an important Slack channel, but I do mute high traffic channels. I wouldn't call that unprofessional. If you're getting your job done, that's fine with me. I also like to listen to music when working. Probably because the opposite of cars. No, it takes. Yeah. So, and again, I mean, this was a very quick thing I posted. I didn't have time to get into the nuances, but I've since clarified that in a few different places. To me, what it comes down to is, are you curating your notifications in a way that allows you to maximize your concentration? If you're a developer, if you're any kind of if you're a developer, you're paid to concentrate, essentially, right? So if there's something that's important, it makes sense to get those notifications. That's great. But yeah, muting channels that don't allow. And by the way, listening to music is highly professional. I mean, I as developers, I get surprised every once in a while. I run into a developer that doesn't listen to music while they work, and it kind of tweaks me out a little bit. I used to know this one guy who would wear construction grade headphones that were not all they did was block sound. So he didn't listen to music. He just worked in complete silence, which is kind of wild. But anyways, okay. Depends on your role. Sometimes you have to be able to respond quickly, although and again, usually I can communicate to people that I'm sometimes engaged in the work they're paying me to do, responding to notifications. Yeah, totally depends on your role. Maker versus manager schedule kind of a thing. It's not always optional. Companies do have rules about such things. They're typically grounded in reasonable causes. However, highlights like different but related issues. Working in absolutes unprofessional. Yeah. Yes. this is not the first person to turn this around on me and tell me that it's unprofessional to say this, which is a fair response. I've always maintained that thinking strictly black and white terms inherently broken as designed. There's almost nothing in life that can be reasonably reduced to A is good and bad. Given that, yeah, totally. That short-sighted, ignorant, lazy worldview. Tell me what you really think. Yeah. So companies do have rules. If company has a rule about a specific rule about something like that, then you got to respect that, obviously. To me, what this comes down to is that I believe that people are barraged by notifications, and to the point where it's detrimental to their productivity, which at the end of the day hurts both themselves and their employer. So it's in everyone's best interest for productivity to be maximized. And so, so the reason why I and again, the way this original thing was worded was in overly absolutist, and I've since clarified that further. But so the way I feel about it is that if you, as a developer, you need blocks of time to get into the zone, get into a flow state and get work done, whether that's an hour, 2 hours at a time. You need blocks of time to get into working productively. And I don't think it's true that almost nothing can be reduced to A is good and B is bad. But I do think like there are just fundamental truths of our neuropsychology, and there's a graph I had pulled up, I don't have it handy now, that shows that when you get taken out of a concentrated state, it takes you time to ramp back up. So those are just physical constraints of our brains. And I don't think there's any way around that. Everybody probably exists on some kind of a spectrum with regard to that. But yeah, as a developer, you really can't get meaningful work done without concentrating. And so much of the time, I think we're overwhelmed with notifications that I think it's harmful. So that's kind of what I've been pressing on here with this. All right, next up. Oh, I got a comment in here from Royals Rent-A-Car. Hi, Kaylin. Are you listening? Yes, I'm listening. Okay, next up. From Ryan, I deal with it every day. With me being the only person in my office, I have to wear several hats. My notifications are coming from emails, phone calls, customers walking in. My boss asking me why I haven't finished a new feature on the website. I say, sorry. I know you're going to Then I cry myself to sleep, wake up, wash the saliva from my face, and explain to my wife and son. This is hilarious. I say, sorry. I say, turn them off. I hope you're reading this. This is hilarious. I'm dying laughing right now. That's really funny. Yeah. And this is it. I mean, this is it. So many people are just so overloaded, and it's brutal. I don't think so. I think it's not unprofessional. Everyone has his own life. Our family, not unless you take care of it, but you must work hard for. Therefore, communication is very important. It's also important to work on your own work. What if you have a family accident or something bad happening? Such communication not only hinders businesses, but also produces bad results in business. That doesn't mean everything. These are human relationships. Yeah. So a lot of these things I've already kind of touched on, but yeah, family emergencies, things that the idea is that you want to get notifications that are truly important, whether those are critical situations with your job, maybe site downtime if you're responsible for that, or obviously family emergencies. Getting the right notifications that you actually need to know about. Comment from David here. Unfortunately, interruptions cause bugs. Issues won't go away until programming is demystified. What you say? Well, I've been a top coder for decades, having changed computer jobs a few times from big, tiny companies, but I worked as an X-ray quality welder while I went to school. I actually knew a guy who went from being a welder to being a developer. I hired a guy once. A foreman would know not to interrupt a welder in the middle of a critical bead because the foreman probably knows what welding is. Exactly. Like this is interesting example from a completely different industry, but there are ways in which notifications are harmful, right? On some level, whether there's real physical harm in the case of welding, whether there's harm in the case in the sense of reducing productivity. And so we have to find ways to manage those. We have to be smart about that. In programming 30 plus years, I've only had one supervisor who knew enough about programming to know when best to interrupt. Point being, get used to it, coders. Be ready to put a comment in your code to help you remember what you were doing when interrupted. And don't interrupt yourself in a critical coding session. Rather, just listen to music. Yeah. So, I mean, so this post is kind of like, hey, get used to it. This is the way it is. Supervisors are not going to understand this. My whole purpose in putting this issue out here is to try to make, hopefully, some manager out there aware of this, or some hiring manager or company CEO or team lead. I'm trying to get this conversation out there so that it can be more common for people to respect these things. And ultimately, I think everybody wins. All right. That's enough on that. Next up. Oh, this is the thing on remote conferences. LinkedIn takes forever to load, by the way. Forever. I mean, this is just gnarly how long LinkedIn takes to load. Computer's a little slow from the live stream, but... Okay, so talking about remote conferences and basically saying I don't believe in them. But I got a really good reply from David here. Having attended both Laracon US and Laracon Online for the past few years, here's what I've observed. And let me just let him know that I'm responding here in real time. The online conference allowed all of my company's developers to attend without all the bloated costs for travel, lodging, and food. We actually made a thing of it, got breakfast, food, catered lunch, etc. All devs were welcome to attend in person. We booked our marketing theater. This made it attainable as a company, and all our devs got to see great talks. I think that's really cool. And I was not, I have to admit, I was not thinking of that use case when I started ranting about remote conferences. I think, this is actually a way in which you are recreating some of the dynamics of a conference, of where you're catering food, you said you're making a thing of it. So that there's that time with your team where you're still at work, right? But you're in a different location, you're a marketing theater, and you're able to kind of get away from the day-to-day routine and both hear talks, hear some topics that are getting you out of your day-to-day, and then discuss them physically with people together. In your case, that's in your marketing theater versus at a physical conference. So I actually think this is possibly the only use case that I think a remote conference makes sense. And I think this is really awesome. Now, if everybody was just sitting at their desks watching this live, to me, it's hard to see how there's a lot of value in that. But okay, next, there's just nothing quite like drinking and partying with a bunch of other devs that actually get what you do. Right. Usually after day one, I'm usually tired on subsequent days from the previous night, so I don't go much out of the morning talks. Totally. And like, I don't know. I don't think talks are really the number one point of conferences. I really don't. I mean, most of the content increasingly is available online after the fact. So, yeah. So, which is going to tie into some of these next things here. Online conferences definitely lack the magnitude and togetherness. Some devs actually hate conferences and only want the talks or educational aspects of a conference. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like most all conferences these days are the talks are all available online. There might be a little bit of a delay, so you have to wait 2 months or whatever month to see the content. But if you really hate conferences, then just watch the content online. I mean, I don't see how I don't see the value that an online conference adds on top of just putting videos online after the fact. Offline remote conferences offer an affordable gateway. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, Chris here. Remote drinking of beer with other people at a conference wouldn't be fun at all. Exactly. Exactly. Um, Tom here would be great to hear your thoughts on that. Tagged guy named Ewo. Mitchell agreed. Talks are great, but the more meaningful experiences often happen in the halls. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, next up. See if I can navigate here. I feel like I have to preload all of these posts. I feel like that's maybe the only way to do this efficiently because it is crazy, man. It is pure madness. It is absolute boondoggery. Okay, loaded. I was talking to Dev recently. He's burned out on working on legacy Magento codebase. Um, question from Yahor. What is a modern Magento stack, Magento Cloud? So not necessarily Magento Cloud, but like like if somebody could be working on a Magento 1 code base that has all sorts of legacy code in it and all sorts of core hacks and all sorts of craziness, right? Versus they could be working in a latest version of Magento 2 that's all hooked into GitHub, and they're using maybe and this is going to tie into some other comments here down below, but maybe they're using a cool front end framework like Vue Storefront or something like that. Like I've like the broader point is I've seen people in one context doing Magento work go to another context, and it's not just the code base itself. It's also what's the team you're working with, how challenging, how interesting is the work that you're doing. It's all of those things of what makes work interesting. It's like how clean is the code base, how recent, how modern is the stack, how modern is the front end tooling, the back end. Are you working on new problems, or are you working on something new every day versus whatever? Like that. That's kind of what I was getting at here. And then Tony replied, actually, the more I use Magento Cloud, the more I started to like it. At first, I was not a big fan. Yahor says it's not bad to work with, but it is not a stack. It's designed to keep you maintain. Okay. Okie dokie. And then Nick Stein here. I think Vue Storefront is a driver of this for us at Trellis. The end result for clients. Before I do that, I just saw this. Oh, hey, got David here in the chat. What's up, brother? I just responded to your comment here. Yeah, so the end result for clients is ultra fast PWA experience, and for engineers that have specialized in Magento, it exposes them to Vue and Node in a production environment. Totally. And then I think that, developers are going to really enjoy working in Vue Storefront or in other more modern PWA frameworks. But yeah, this is, I think, is a brilliant approach. You're hitting two birds with one stone. You're both getting, great results for the client and a great experience for the engineers. Comment from Patrick here. I agree. We see similar feedback from many devs. Looks like Vue servers based on is a new motivation for many. Let me just put this here. Working on the modern front end framework is also more universal. Could be a way out if e-commerce moves issue. Yeah. So getting into Vue kind of maybe you really like that and you just go to do a lot of pure front end development if you want to get out of e-commerce or whatever. That's always an option. So there's some great feedback on this topic. All right, next up, I'm running out of steam here. I am running out of steam. Pull this up here. Remote conferences, full stack. LinkedIn is so slow. I think this is what's driving me bonkers. I think I may wrap this up. think I may do one more. It's so slow. It's so slow. Oh, nice. It's got a lot of traction. So these are questions about this job. Nope. No visa sponsorship, unfortunately. Okay, I guess that's about it for now. This is just a little bit of an experiment. Thank you for playing along. And should I try to do Twitter real quick? Twitter is so much faster. No, I'm gonna skip. Yeah, that's it. All right. You guys have a good one.